David, it's a bit morbid, really.
Okay.
You're on your deathbed. 2 questions, first of all. Any big regrets? You're on your deathbed.
I mean, fundamentally, I don't believe in regret.
No.
Because to me, regret is quite arrogant because it's assuming that if you'd made a different decision, your life would have turned out better.
Yeah.
And you don't know that. It could have turned out a lot worse. So it's very easy to imagine the grass being greener. Like I say, oh, if I'd gone to finance, then I could have lived a few years in Singapore. And, what an amazing, I might have made loads and loads of money and had a totally, well, that may have happened, but it might have been a horrible life, you have no idea.
What's the expression? The
sliding
road,
doors.
Or the road less travelled. You choose one path and it could take you a little bit windy while you choose the other one, which could be an easier path, but you could get run over by a bus.
Sheila, great to have you back again.
Yes.
And this is your turn now to put me in the hot seat. And people have the choice to give me forewarning, and because of your cheekiness, you haven't.
No. Well, I'm not going to be too sports related. I'm going to keep it gentle. I'm going to be gentle with you, David.
Okay.
But the first question, obviously, you have travelled the world.
Yes.
But you've not travelled it as a tourist, you've travelled it as a professional person.
Yes.
And in working life, you don't always see it as a beautiful place. But I'm sure with your travels, you've found places that you've thought have been incredibly interesting. So first of all, as an interesting place, what would you say?
I'm going to go 2 parts to this, because when I get to a place, certain countries or certain cities or whatever, you just don't feel them in a way. But when there are certain cities, that I've been to, and you kind of go in your back of your head, I could live here. It feels good, And even though I've only been there once, a city that stands out for me is Santiago, Chile.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I thought the people were wonderful. The setting, it's got lots of hills and mountains around, and there's the older quarter and the newer parts, and it just felt vibrant, but also historical at the same time.
History.
And the whole feel of the place, and of the great wine, of course, which.
It's very important.
If I wasn't feeling it, I could always find a way to feel
absolutely.
So that's one place that I really enjoyed.
Inspired and enjoyed.
Yes. Other places. I mean, I would not like to live there, but I always enjoyed going through Singapore.
Yes.
Again, I found it quite an exciting city.
Yeah.
Lots happening. You could imagine in another life, being in finance or something like that, and having a stint out there or whatever. Yeah. And of course, for Asia, very, very clean. Singapore always.
Did you get to Raffles?
Yes.
Yes. Oh,
yeah. I had to have a drink of it. But I mean, there's a lot of history there, and I felt like I wouldn't mind doing a year here.
Yes,
or,
would have been a nice opportunity. Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask you another question.
The last city I think that I really enjoyed.
This was question though, but just slightly different. If you were to buy a holiday home, money was no object, where would it be?
Oof.
Oh, I know, this is a difficult one.
That's a great question.
Because holidays are different to... just being in a busy city or something like that. So it is quite a difficult one, because it depends what you actually want from a holiday home, whether it's to relax, whether it's to party, whether it's to swim or whatever, Yeah.
I think I do have an answer for this, and it would be Portugal.
All right, okay.
And, you fly to Faro and, if you're staring at the sea, you go left, and it's kind of Valdelobo and all of those places. All the golfing.
Yeah.
Not that side, the other side, Tavira way.
Now that's where I want to go.
Oh, well, you need to go there. Yeah. So and Tavira way. Because I find the food in Portugal is fantastic. I love fish.
Yeah.
And they've got,
and it can be quite inexpensive in some of the little places.
Yeah. I mean, beer, coffee, stuff, little thing. I mean, they've got some great coffee there, coffee shops and stuff. And it is a lot cheaper, but of course, if money's no object, you don't need that.
Yeah.
But I really love, and that would have been, the other place I was going to mention. Yeah. That I always feel comfortable in.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I think if money was no object, a fabulous villa around Tavira way,
overlooking the ocean.
It would be an ideal spot.
Yeah, because I mean it's quite different for you from coming from South Africa. Yeah. You've travelled all over, but now you're saying sort of as a holiday home somewhere in Europe.
Yeah, I think having travelled so much. Yeah. Unless I went back to live in South Africa, for instance, like the kind of bucket list that Joy and I have, like Vietnam was on that list. And I did like Vietnam as a country, and I was there, early 2000s, I think, or maybe late 99 or 2000, 2001. So it's a long time ago, and maybe it's changed a lot. But I did like Ho Chi Minh, and I thought Vietnam would be a really interesting country to go and visit and everything like that. And South Africa is just a fantastic place for a holiday. But the idea of getting on a plane for 10, 15 hours for a holiday is less appealing to me now.
Well, you've been on planes every week for how many years, David?
I would hate to. I mean, it's something I wonder if little things you could have logged. There's two things I think about. I wonder how many air miles I would actually have if I had the same airline for everything else.
That's it. Your airline points or whatever.
Definitely over the Million Mile Club. Yeah. But also, I just try to think. I wonder how many hotel beds I've slept in.
I know. Yes.
I mean, it's just it would be mind blowing.
Yeah.
So I think if you'd asked me that question 10, 15 years ago, probably Cape Town in South Africa would have been a place. Yes. Yeah. But now I think as lovely as it is, I don't know if I could not. Once every 2 or 3 years, but as a fairly regular holiday home, your 2.5 hour flight is really what would be very appealing to me, rather than the long distance.
So another question now, David. It's a bit morbid, really.
Okay.
But right. You're on your deathbed. Sorry, David.
Okay.
So...
Well, I hope not too soon.
No. 2 questions, first of all. Any big regrets? You're on your deathbed.
Fundamentally, I don't believe in regret.
No.
Because to me, regret is quite arrogant because it's assuming that if you'd made a different decision, your life would have turned out better. Yeah. And you don't know that. It could have turned out a lot worse. So it's very easy to imagine the grass being greener. I say, if I'd gone to finance, then I could have lived a few years in Singapore. And, what an amazing, I might have made loads and loads of money and had a totally, well, that may have happened, but it might have been a horrible life. You have no idea.
What's the expression? The
sliding doors.
Or the road less traveled. You choose one path and it could take you a little bit windy while you choose the other one, which could be an easier path, but you could get run over by a bus.
Yeah, exactly.
What I mean?
It's 100% that. But I mean, if I look back, your gut feeling is very, very powerful.
It is.
And I'd say if there's some regret, it would be the times where my gut instinct that kicked in, and because of what maybe people would have thought or something when I was younger, I didn't do it.
Yes.
And there was a player that I coached, Arvin Palmer, who played a Davis Cup match. And he was 2 sets to love up to win the whole tie. And the wheels kind of came off. And, there's quite a story behind it. And I don't feel like he was handled that well on the court. But anyway, he ended up losing.
Right.
And it was the whole atmosphere, got a little bit ugly on court 1 at Wimbledon. And it was quite, the Ecuadorians were quite, noisy and everything like that. And he was absolutely distraught. And my whole gut instinct told me to, jump out of my seat,
intervene,
and climb over onto the court and actually go put my arms around him and just say, look, it's going to be all right, and help and walk off the court with him. Yeah. But I didn't. Yeah. And I mean, I might have been stopped by a security guy. Yes. I mean, you don't know what would have happened, everything. But my gut instincts felt like he really needed that in that moment. Yeah. And I chickened out because of the security guys might get me and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
So I mean, these are fairly minor things,
But still.
But that's the only thing I was thinking about is I think it's really important, and I try as much as possible to do things that I feel I want to do. Rather than hold back because of what people might think or whatever, because I think, many people say you regret more the things that you didn't do than things that you did do. I mean, it's I've not thought about it, until now. Yes. And that's just an example. But I think if I had to think about things, it'd be little things like that where I thought the chance was there, and I didn't go and ask her out, or I didn't. I didn't.
There's little things. Like for myself, just turning it around a little bit because of work, and I used to be obsessed by filling my diary. Then maybe somebody's parent had died, but my friend would have needed a bit of support, and because I was working, didn't maybe go to the funeral or something like that. And you do look back, don't you, at a few eventualities that are not massive, but at the time you think, really, I should have done that, and we don't.
I think the other thing was, whilst I used to go back to South Africa and visit when my parents were alive, it wasn't until I got older and had a child myself, and when Roxanne got a bit older, and I thought, when she was in her early 20s, and I thought, wow, it'd be really difficult to not see her for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And we had some great holidays and that, and obviously living in Europe and they living in South Africa, the distance is difficult. But I think maybe I could have made more of an effort to go a little more often.
Yes.
Because but you're young, you're living your life,
Absolutely.
and you don't realize that for the parent it's a little different, and maybe they want to see their kid a little more often. So there's
and it's different these days. Yes. You can do FaceTime. You can, we didn't have mobile phones. So it was different.
When I was in college in the States, phoning South Africa was like $9 a minute.
Which
which is ridiculous.
Huge.
It's like
you'd rather eat.
Exactly. So I'd phone once a month, and we'd have a very quick conversation and letters.
Oh my goodness!
And those aerogram letters, the blue ones.
I remember those, David.
Because they were cheap and everything. I wrote loads of those, and that's how they would write to me. So And whilst it was more difficult, I suppose there's some sentimental. It's quite nice to receive those letters and everything.
Definitely.
But certainly it's a lot easier now to
definitely communicate with people that are away, or even for business or whatever,
and to actually see people.
Definitely.
That's
definitely.
I find it fascinating where technology will be in 15 years.
Unbelievable.
Because it's going so fast now.
Absolutely.
Young kids today have no idea what it's like to have had no mobile phone.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the first fax machine, thinking, holy moly, you can put a piece of paper in here and it comes out on thermal paper on the other side.
And a pager.
And little pages and the first BlackBerry where, all BlackBerry Messenger, what a thing that was,
Oh, but don't you remember the big Motorola?
Oh, yeah. So all of these things, but now it's going so fast. Yet it's strange to think that one day, the kids of today will be our age and they'll be looking back on mobile phones and going, remember when we had mobile phones? I mean, I don't know where it'll go.
Be something in their fingertip
People used to drive cars.
Yeah. Now the car drives for you. There's a monorail. I do not know. I have no idea.
So but that will happen. They will look back and go, "Oh, the good old days of the mobile phone and internet."
But that's one thing I would say with mobile phones and technology. When you go out to eat somewhere now and you see people round the table, all they're doing is on that mobile phone, which is quite sad, really.
Yes.
Yeah, when you're out with a family or something.
Yeah, I'm optimistic that the world will kind of push back and people start to get to realize that there's more to life than just that. But maybe the new generation, that'll be their life and they won't know any different and it'll just be totally different. So
I'm going to ask you another question.
Fine.
Very simple, very easy. What is your guilty pleasure?
You mean pick one?
Out of the list. You can write a list, David. You can have maybe 3 if you want. It could be food pleasure. Related. A man after my own heart.
I do find it very difficult, and we don't keep it in the house much because of...
Well, I know Joy locks the cupboards when...
Or she hides stuff,
Yeah, she does.
What's funny is when she's hidden something and she can't find it, and she's desperate for it too. But I do think, sometimes when you're watching a show or whatever in the evening,
movie or something,
a good piece of, for me, I really like chili chocolate or, salted caramel, a piece of chocolate. Joy restricts me to one piece
of dark chocolate.
Every now and again I'll find the stash and have another piece. So I do enjoy that. I do like a good glass of red wine.
Yes. Nice. Yeah.
But then on a nice hot summer's day, around about 6 in the evening, boy, a gin and tonic can go down well.
You see, I was told never, ever to drink gin. I went to see a clairvoyant, David, and she wagged her finger at me and she said, never, ever drink gin. And I was so frightened by this woman. I've never drunk gin. I can't even smell gin.
That's amazing.
That effect that it had on me. And she frightened me to death. So I've never drunk gin. Everything else, but never gin.
and the other thing I enjoy at the end of an evening, I've been out, out to dinner at a restaurant or something like that, is an old fashioned.
Oh yes, that's whiskey and
bitters and something else. A bit of orange in it.
I can't remember exactly, but I don't like whiskey, you see.
No, but
I've never tried it.
But Joy doesn't like whiskey, but I got on to old fashions and she likes them. You don't really taste the whiskey,
maybe
that
next
strongly.
Time we have a bit of a soiree, David, you can make me an old fashioned.
I'll have to figure out how to. But now they have these big blocks of ice.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And it makes it look all sexy and wonderful.
Yeah,
so,
you need the right glass.
You need the right glass and the right ice. But definitely.
Yeah, margarita's my sort of like go-to.
Good margarita on a hot day.
Like margarita.
If you serve me one of those instead of a gin and tonic, I'm quite happy.
So are we going down the list now?
The list is quite long.
Oh dear. But it is nice to have a few guilty pleasures. You can't just stay on that road of like a narrow path and not indulging ever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, I think, life is to be enjoyed.
Yeah,
and if you're so disciplined that you're always resisting something, I'm not sure how mentally healthy that is.
No, and I mean,
all the discipliners say, well, that's your problem.
Yeah, I mean, I was very disciplined with work. Maybe food wasn't always. I think because, like yourself, being an athlete, being a dancer myself, from a really young age, I was put onto diets.
Yes.
And I wasn't naturally slim. So it was always a battle for me. Yeah. So I think when we talk about guilty pleasures, it's those things when you've been deprived of something, of chocolate and of cheese and crisps and whatever it is, then that's when you end up having nobody's around, I'll have a little binge day, and have all these naughty things. But
the other thing that's really crazy, right?
Going on to...
I do love, actually, and I know this from my mother, but toast with quite a lot of butter on it and peanut butter.
So you have butter
and peanut butter.
Peanut butter.
But because it makes the peanut butter, because it's quite sticky peanut butter. But if you have that butter on it, it goes very, very easy. Very filling as well. You have a piece of toast with butter and peanut butter. That'll keep you going a while.
Well, I used to teach. Well, I had a franchise called Rosemary Conley Diet and Fitness Clubs. I don't know if you remember Rosemary Conley, but anyway, she was the low-fat diet, the hip and thigh diet, and all of that. So I used to teach exercise and then preach the diet. And so you had to have everything under 5 grams per 100 grams of food. So you look on backs of packets. So the fat had to be under 5 grams per 100 grams. And it really did work. But when you looked at the back of the packet of a packet of crisps, maybe a block of cheese or some chocolate, you wouldn't get anywhere.
No.
You could have a wine gum.
But I mean, the thing is, the whole low fat thing is not, because sugar is obviously a big thing, which is might be a problem.
And I think everything now, as you get to a certain age, everything's a little bit of a balance in everything, isn't it? Whether you used to go hell for leather with your training as an athlete, now probably taking a step back to sort of like a bit more of a happy medium,
Yes. I mean, it's, everybody mostly would like to be a few pounds less. But the work that you have to put in to do that,
I think we had a conversation, didn't we,
at some point gets a little bit, not worth it,
I think we both, we've often, gone on walks or something like that and said, put a bit of weight on or lost a little bit of weight with a big smile on our face. But it is difficult as you get older as well. Yeah,
but I mean, I definitely am not someone, and I know the same for you, is to just go crazy and just...
just
say,
let it
okay,
I can't be bothered anymore.
But I think that comes also in with the work ethic. You want to be able to do your job. You want to, and get out there and feel,
as good as you can.
As good as you can. And so, a happy medium.
Yeah. Well, I think I've asked you all the questions I was going to ask, David.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to come back again and ask you a few more.
I'm sure we can do this again in a year's time. We'll have an anniversary one.
Yeah, I'll start writing my list now, David.
And I'll change the questions around. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Care,
brilliant. Lovely to see you again.
Thank you, David.
Cheers. Okay, thank you very much for that, and I'll see you again next week.